Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to Uncanceled on 95.7 KCMO Talk Radio. I'm Kevin Kietzman, and I am not a slacker like Rachel Maddow. Pete Mundo, come on. Wow, did I learn a lot today. This is the first time in 3 shows, I think, that I don't have new stadium information for you today. I apologize for that, but I think I learned enough from hearing Mike Kelly on with Pete to know that he has no clue what's going on anywhere. Like, Mike Kelly is running Johnson County and has no clue. Hello, Mike. You're going to be the last guy to know. Also sounds like he doesn't know what the budget is or how much money they have in Johnson County. Oh, don't I feel good? Nice work. I couldn't believe it. Oh, we don't want to put people to sleep here at 8:15 in the morning. Oh, my goodness.
Do we need some Johnson County DOGE?
We need some Johnson County DOGE. Actually, it would be a good exercise just to put somebody with Mike and let him see what it is. He's in charge of it all. Let's see where it's going. He did say it's all spoken for, right? He doesn't know how much, but it's all spoken for in these things that I want to do, not getting a major league team here in Johnson County. Now, that's not really on the agenda. We got to spend this money elsewhere. I got things that are important now. We're doing some homeless shelters. We're doing some benefits. We got some stuff going on here. Great stuff today on Monday in the morning. That was fun. We have a nice show lined up for you today, including a racist pastor in Atlanta. You won't believe this. Coming up in just a few minutes. The polling information, Pete mentioned some polls last hour, briefly, a couple of them. It had like 15 different categories. Republicans win everything. Why doesn't America always vote that way? We're going to get into that, and I'll share some of these stunning numbers with you on our country is not divided. It's not, and I'll prove it to you with the polling numbers. And we will remember a day in 1999 when I was on radio and we had a walkout at Kauffman Stadium. 5,000 people walked out. The announcer who called that game for the Yankees sort of made the event famous with something he called us. He died yesterday at age 68. We will revisit that moment. It is all ahead on Uncanceled, where our headline today is Just Do It. When it comes to marketing, it's hard to think of a more iconic slogan than Nike's Just Do It. There's been a few. Make America Great Again. Certainly Trump, iconic. It will stick forever. You can probably think of some in the back of your mind or that come right to your mind when you start to think of great branding, great slogans, but nothing really like Just Do It. So I got a couple stories here to start the show today. The first one is Elon Musk, Donald Trump, just do it. You've done it. Rip the Band-Aid. Let's go. You've sent the email. These people didn't respond. Musk made it sound like very few responded. If we truly have 2 million government employees and let's say less than half of them responded, fire the rest. Figure it out. Tell them they're all on the payroll for the next 30 days. And over the next 30 days, figure out who has to stay until they're replaced and who can be let go now. Figure all those things out. Here's what you're going to be weeding out. When these people aren't responding right now, they're telling you that they are a hardened socialist liberal working for the federal government. I have listeners to my podcast that are emailing me and they're saying, I worked for the government, or I did work for the government, or my child works for the government. And Kevin, it's not everybody. They're not all bad. I agree with you. I'm going to bet everybody that listens to my podcast that works for the government or knows somebody in their family or circle that works for the government, I'll bet they've emailed and they're safe. This is so simple and brilliant, what they are doing. It is a way, because look, what does the left love to do? Oh, you're targeting. It's racism. You're a homophobe. Oh, this is political. Well, you can't say it's political when you offer 2 million people the opportunity to email you back to let you know you're alive and you're still working. And you recognize that you have a boss somewhere that you had to respond to. That's not political, and yet it is. It's completely political. And the left's going to try to go with this, and it's going to be impossible to make the case, even though you know it and I know it. It's the Democrats with their middle finger in the air that work for the government saying, I'm not responding to that Elon Musk and Donald Trump. I'm not doing this. Because why? They're entrenched in what they do. It's always been comfortable and easy. There's a big fat pension waiting for them, even if they do get terminated. They'll always have the pension. There's always the benefits. It stays for life. They're all going to have it. You don't hear these crazoids at Mark Alford's event that he had yesterday out there worrying about 100 IRS jobs that got lost. Sorry for the IRS folks that got terminated. Everybody's been there. Everybody's worked somewhere there's downsizing. Rachel Maddow called out her bosses on TV last night for doing the wrong thing. Then she went and she can make a case about Joy Reid being her friend and she should work there. And she basically said my bosses are racist for firing her. Then she said it's inefficient and unnecessary to fire, and that's not true. It's absolutely necessary. And by the way, Rachel, with the money you have, why don't you do like Tucker Carlson or Bill O'Reilly or a host of other people that we know that made tens of millions of dollars and have gone on to start their own business and hire the people that worked with them that they respect, that got laid off or terminated or whatever, and build your own team. You feel bad. She went into this complete tirade about it's the little people that work here that I feel so bad for. Really hire them. They're still paying you $10 million a year to work 100 days and then Mondays. All right. So let's say it's 5 or 6 people that you're close to that you want to keep working there. Take $1 million of your salary, pay them each $200,000. A lot of people in your industry do that, Rachel. You don't mean it. And it's the same thing with the federal government workers. Elon Musk and Donald Trump must do this. They've given a second chance after an inane test that most failed, that Elon Musk called, quote, utterly trivial. And he's disappointed in the response, that people haven't responded. Now they're saying you've got a second chance. I don't think this time you have to do the 5 bullet points. I think the bar is this. Hit send to keep your job. Just put the word reply, in the topic, reply. Hit send and send it back, and you're probably not going to get fired this round. I don't think they're going to do it. I don't think Trump and Elon are going to do it, but my message today is just do it. If they don't respond, mean it this time. You've told them twice. If they're dug in like that, fire them. You can replace them with conservatives that will come to the office, do the work, and work for America. It'll be a whole new federal government. And I'm only talking about replacing a fraction. If you have to replace somebody, you replace them. A key position, because there's going to be people in some key positions that are not responding. Daring you to fire me. It's going to happen, like high-profile people. It's going to happen. I say do it. Do it and know that you can go hire the next generation and you can hire the people that you want. Along those same lines, since our headline is Just Do It, is this story, where apparently we're now winning in a lot of ways in finding bad guys in this country and arresting them and locking them up. This story is from the Mojave Desert in Arizona, USA, where a few weeks ago, 11 criminals boarded a BNSF train. When it stopped, they cut the air brake hose, which shows up on the little lights up there where the engineer is. They'll have to replace that. So the thing stopped, and it stopped for a while. These 11 dudes began unloading the train, throwing everything off to their helpers on the ground, and they stole $500,000 worth of Nikes. There's a brand new shoe called the Nigel Sylvester X Air Jordans 4S. They're about $250 each. They got 1,900 pairs of them. That's $500,000. Then the story comes out. Phoenix does a nice job in reporting this news. Over the last 11 months, over $2 million of stuff has been stolen here from this particular train, this route, by these 10 illegal aliens from Mexico and one Mexican citizen who's in the asylum process. And then they dig deeper and get this. Supply chain theft in the United States last year. Supply chain, not just freight trains. Supply chain theft. Reportedly between $20 and $30 billion. That's goods being produced for us to buy. And you want to know why prices are going up? When we talked about inflation, we didn't talk about all the stuff getting stolen. Walmart getting ripped off, all the stores, they got to raise their prices. Everything that gets stolen and you say, don't confront them, let them go, let them walk away with the stuff. Every time that happens, your price goes up. I think that might have been one of the biggest reasons for inflation under Biden. There was no law enforcement in this country. We simply cannot have $30 billion worth of goods stolen every year from our supply chain. This is crushing to inflation in the American public. and it's an inside job, and it looks like it's mostly illegals. Here's how they knew where the Nikes were. Oh, there were tracking devices on them. So it was an inside job. Somebody at a assembly plant or somebody where they packaged them or somebody somewhere was putting devices, AirPods, whatever they're called, or whatever, it's probably that what it was, tracking devices inside these boxes so the criminals would know when the train stops that that's the one that has the Nikes. And they do it. And it isn't just Nikes. I just thought it was clever to put that with just do it with Elon Musk today. But we cannot have $30 billion worth of stolen stuff. We just can't do it. And it looks like what's been going on in California and Arizona has been almost exclusively illegal aliens in America robbing trains like it's the 1800s, like it's some Gunsmoke episode. You know, they're going to send Festus out there to get the bad guys from Mexico. Are you serious? Wow, this is like the amount of crime. I mean, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce's houses got ripped off. I can't, they always said Trump's exaggerating illegal crime. He came down that escalator in 2015. Oh, there's rapists and there's murderers. Oh my God, he's a racist. I can't believe he said that. Well, it's terrible. And it includes billions and billions of dollars worth of stuff that they're stealing from us and sending home to their countries. What a ruse this has been, and we are cleaning it up. They're finally catching the train thieves in Arizona. Our good news to get us started on Uncanceled. 913-408-7957. That's 913-408-7957. If you'd like to join the conversation today on Uncanceled, this is KCMO Talk Radio.
If it's happening in KCMO, it's on KCMO 95.7 FM. Here's Kevin Kietzman.
All right, we're back on Uncanceled. This is KCMO Talk Radio. We're going to take your phone calls in just a little bit. We're going to talk about a mega church pastor who is unloaded and just flat needs to be canceled. Just flat canceled. If we're going to cancel somebody, this is the guy. This is the place to start. We'll also get into some new polling that's out there. As many as 83% of Americans agreeing on conservative principles, things that Trump's doing right now, in agreement on those. Just remarkable what's going on. I don't think we're as divided as we think. I think we're confused on how to vote. I think a lot of this is just flat out left-wing media and brain rot over the decades to be taught that it's only acceptable to do one thing or you're racist or you're a bad person or whatever. Because when you ask about the issues, this country isn't even center right. This country is right. It's totally reflected in this latest polling. To the phones we go, and we are so glad that Doug in Overland Park has called us today. Good morning, Doug. How are you?
Man, I'm doing great, Kevin. It's really good to have you on. Your show really reminds me of Murphy's old show. It's anything and everything, what's going on in Kansas City. And, man, I sure am enjoying you being back. The point I'd like to make, though, is just like you said, brain rot, bro. I own my own business, and, everything went to crap at the starting of COVID. I've had to reinvent myself. I've had to figure out how to make money again in different ways because things have just changed. These people that all they do is suck on the government with a paycheck, and that's all they see at the end. Is very narrow brain rot. That's all they've got on their minds is that paycheck and what their benefits are. They have no idea what it's like to try to actually run something, get out there and make it happen yourself. And they're stupid. They got brain rot, bro. They are just not with the program, and they haven't been for a long time. That's what needs to happen. This change needs to happen. These people need to open their eyes up and start supporting themselves and sucking off the government tit. I appreciate
Doug,
you, bro.
Doug, I love your passion. What's your business, sir?
I do flooring restoration. I do carpet cleaning, tile and grout cleaning. We also have janitorial. We make Kansas City look beautiful.
What is the name of your company?
1 Hour Carpet.
1 Hour Carpet. Okay.
They can get me on, or anybody can get me online. I've got a page that'll get you right to me.
You're awesome, Doug. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you.
Man, I appreciate you too.
Thank you. That guy's got some energy, man. I love that. Doug's out there getting after it, man. That nasty grout in your shower, he's working on that right now. He's going to somebody's house to work on that right now. I love that. Absolutely love it. Here's Mike in Olathe. Hi, Mike. How you doing today?
Yeah, I was calling on that Just Do It heist. Have you seen the movie Goodfellas?
Yes.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Lufthansa heist, where they all had the inside guy working at the airport, and they had the biggest takeaway in U.S. airport history. And if you really think about it, the U.S. government learned a lot from the mafia, how to shake people down, how to, go after people, gambling. They learned a lot, when Rudy Giuliani enforced RICO. That's when New York started getting cleaned up and all that. But if you look at how our government is run, it's basically run like a mafia.
Yeah, I can see your point there. I can also see how these trains and what they were doing in the California and Arizona desert, that's a hard place to police the crime. These are vast, gigantic open spaces where trains stop in very small locations with very little law enforcement.
If you're talking 20 or 30 billion,
yes, I know.
Out there, it's not just happening in that location.
No, absolutely not. And it's not just trains. It's everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's all things.
Yeah.
It's amazing. We got to crack down on that. I mean, the inflation, the things we could bring down if we stop the theft in this country, not stop, but what if we cut theft in half of what's going on right now just by locking people up and sending illegals home? Illegals are going home and they're thieves.
Yeah, and if you look at it, though, it's really no different than what the U.S. government to the.
Yeah, your phone's breaking up a little bit there, so I appreciate your call. But yeah, look, there's so many things that have happened over the last 4 years that we're just now getting the receipts on. And this story, to me, it just resonated. This is one of them. This has been operational under Biden, and nobody anywhere did anything about it. Trump's been in office a month. They finally caught some guys. They got 11 of them. What'd they find out? They're all illegal. They're all non-citizens. So it isn't just Chilean gangs busting into ball players' houses. This stuff is everywhere because it's easy. It has been easy. And now it's getting hard. It's getting much more difficult for all of them, and it should be that way. The whole thing should be a difficult thing. Here's Jonathan in Kansas City. Hi, Jonathan. What's up?
Hey, Kevin. This whole email thing, like saying what you do, it reminds me of, Mike Judge. He really was a genius. He predicted our future with Office Space and Idiocracy and King of the Hill. Just how absurd our culture would get. I don't know if you've seen that movie. There's a scene where they bring in consultants in a tech company. They bring in consultants to find out what people are doing. And, to be honest, I think they have been doing all along, going through the books, it has been good. I think that's what they need to do to find out what people are really up to. Responding to an email, I understand that what they're trying to do. I think it's sloppily done. I think it doesn't help that there's levels of management that say, oh, don't respond to it. I think if you really, and also people can BS,
if there are levels of management responding to employees, telling them not to, those managers need to be fired and we'll give the employees a break.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is before you would send a company-wide email like that, or a government-wide email, it's good to coordinate with all the heads of departments. Because remember, that's what happens.
Let me ask you something. You and I, we're going to disagree on this one, okay? And that's okay. If you worked at a job and wanted to call in sick, do you call in sick or do you just not work?
I understand that.
No, I don't think you do.
There is a
I don't think you understand. Send me an email. Let me know you're alive and you're still in touch with the federal government. That's all they're asking. There is no lower bar at any job ever than this. This is the lowest bar in the history of anybody's job.
Okay, with the sick policy, it's normally written by companies, and the written policy is you call before.
Okay, well, they got a written policy right now. You email if you want to keep your job. That's it. It's a written policy. Simple as hell. Doesn't get any simpler than that. Let's go. Send the email in if you want to keep your job. Otherwise, you're out of here. I love it.
You're listening to Kevin Kietzman Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM.
The Dan Bongino Show is coming up at the top of the hour. Stick around for that. We'll get back to the phones in just a moment or two. I want to mention a story that I read today that is just unfathomable to me. This is a mega church pastor in a suburb in Atlanta. His name is Jamal Bryant. And he's turned his church into something that, well, it's not biblical. I guess that would be one way to say it. He went on a tirade in his sermon about black people who support Donald Trump. And at the same time he was doing this, he used names for them. If you're sensitive to any of this, you can go ahead and turn away. All right, whatever. This guy stood in the pulpit, got all enraged, and spoke about fellow black Americans who have chosen to support Donald Trump as coons, runaway slaves who are tap dancing for the master. Then went on to say, the church, him, everybody in the congregation need to break white entitlement and break racism. I can live with those last two. We went through an entire period in this country where we canceled all kinds of people for saying all kinds of things that turned out to be true. What's not true is that it's okay to call somebody coons, runaway slaves, or tap dancers for the master. Under no circumstances, and your skin color doesn't matter to me. You don't do that. It's almost unseemly for me to sit here and read you his quotes. Now factor in, this is in a church where people come to pray and worship. That's just ugly. And this is not a polarized racist country. It simply is not. The polling everywhere shows this. Pete spent some time talking about this on his show earlier today. The numbers are unbelievable. On some of these categories, they're just crazy. How about this? My favorite one of all. 83% of Americans don't agree on anything. Do we agree on that? Yes, we agree on that. 83% say that our federal government should have a balanced budget. Well, that's a very Republican thing. It's a very conservative thing. Democrats don't want that. They've never wanted that. Heck, most Republicans don't seem to want it and have ignored it. But the American public wants it. These numbers are all across the board conservative. 77% of respondents want a full review of all government spending. 81% support deportations of illegal criminals. These are not close numbers. This is not a divided country. When you chop this up into these issues, I challenge anybody to go read the results of the Harvard-Harris poll. These issues, these questions are, is this right or is this wrong? Do you believe in this or not believe in this? And it's pretty hard for anyone to say that the government shouldn't balance its budget. That's 83% of Americans. I'm going to guess only 7 or 8% said no, and then there were 10 that were undecided or had no opinion. These are whopping numbers. This is still a conservative country. These are the things that matter most to people. Crime, same thing, in the 70-some percentile, fighting crime, putting people behind bars, letting people go for small crimes, putting people for big crimes in jail. Americans want this. We are not divided. They're dividing us with mostly their words and their reports. And this pastor's doing nobody a favor. He's certainly not helping the people in his congregation understand if they have a problem at home or they have a problem with their checking account or paying their bills that month or whatever. He's just exacerbating that by blaming someone else. And now we're going to play black people against black people and use terms like this? This is outlandish. I can't even believe it. This pastor should not be allowed to keep going at that church. Somebody has to be in charge and say, you're done. You're unhinged. This is wrong. No matter what your skin color is, you don't use those terms in America today. We all know and respect that. I'm shocked. And this is like the second week in a row we've had a story in the South. The other one was in Tennessee somewhere. And Chattanooga, the pastor melted down and did a similar kind of thing. It's insane. It's embarrassing. It's terrible. And it won't stand. I'm sorry. I'm offended by it. I'm offended by those terms. And the fact that you stand there and use it for what? Political gain? In a Christian church? Shame on you. Seriously. Back to the phones. A lot of folks talking DOGE and government jobs today. This is Mark in Independence. Hi, Mark. How are you today?
Hey, fine, Kevin. I really enjoy you and Mondo every day. And I'm 68 years old, but along my lifespan, I was in the Army Reserves for 28 years. So I worked, so to speak, on the government side. And on the private side, I had my own small construction company, did a lot of sales. But before then, I did a lot of sales, which is a lot of work. And in both sectors, if you could not list in one day at least 5 things that you accomplished,
Right.
you weren't working. And you don't have to have. I understand trying to have meetings and cohesiveness and all that, but on this, it's so simple. You don't need to waste time with meetings. If you can't send in what you did for the week, 5 things, you need to be fired. And by the way, on the military side, if a direct line supervisor came to me and told me, don't report 5 things to the president, that's an unlawful order. I would still report to DOGE, to Donald Trump, 5 things that I got accomplished. In fact, to be honest with you, I'd be so proud, I'd probably list 125
Yes.
things.
You might take 6 hours to write that up on your own time. Yes.
Yes.
I'm with you.
Because I'm proud. And I'll tell
Yes.
you what, people that don't do their damn jobs, they contribute to inflation too.
Of course.
They get paid for not doing anything, and they don't need to be there raising the overhead.
You've nailed it. And I'm generalizing, but if these people that aren't responding, there got to be at least 90% Democrats or liberals, 90%, maybe more. And if they're fired, we rebuild the government with people that want to work. It's no more complicated than that. And this all came out of not going to work. We're just going to let you stay home. Well, what do you think happens when people stay home? They don't work very much. They don't. They don't work like they do if they come to the office. I fully believe in that. Here is Bert in Polo. Good morning, Bert. What's on your mind today?
Hey, Kevin, how are you?
Excellent. Thank you.
Hey, if I'm one of these people that lose my job, does that mean I got to show the government I'm looking for 10 jobs a week on my activity report to them?
Yeah, if you want unemployment, you have to prove you're looking, right?
Yeah.
That might be the funniest thing I've heard today. You can prove you're working now and keep your salary, or you can file for unemployment and prove you're looking to get an unemployment check, which they'd probably do.
So you think I can contact Chuck and he'd be on my side?
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. That's an outstanding point.
I just got one more question. You know, if that was a white preacher that said that, he would be the biggest racist. So where are the black people calling this racist now?
Buddy, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm sure if you, like even Mayor Q, like he goes on with Pete every week. And he's gracious to do it. And a lot of times he says things that sound pretty good when he's on with Pete, whatever. If you asked him about that, he would decry that. He would have terrible things to say that doesn't belong in the church. But nobody wants to speak up on their own. They need to be asked, and nobody's going to ask the question, what do you think about this guy? He should lose his job. I'm sorry, he should lose his job.
I guess I'm just like the grumpy old man. I got to quit listening to too much talk radio. They're going to make me turn into Rambo here one of these days.
Don't do that. No. Don't do that. Stay with us and don't ever take it into your own hands. Use the spoken word, the power of the spoken word. Do not take it into your hands. No. Here's Jeff calling from Arizona. Hi, Jeff.
Hey, hello there. Hey, this whole thing on race. I went to Cheyenne Mission Schools. My son went to Cheyenne Mission Schools. And my son wouldn't even know what a coon or an Uncle Tom is. This is I'm tired of being a 60-year-old white male.
Well, that was an unfortunate place for your phone to cut off because I don't think you're tired of being a 60-year-old white male.
My mom grew up in a country town, and she always says, she goes, I never saw a black person until I came to Kansas City. And she was a little bit racist. And I would say, after that generation goes, so goes that stuff. And I think we were turning a 180, and then all of a sudden the Democratic Party has to bring it up. When Trump was running, I mean, when he was a Democrat, they loved him. Now he's a Republican. They can't stand him. And he did more for the black community than anybody. They tried to get us divided. You know this.
Exactly. And if you keep using terms that somebody born in 1900 that was white used in this country, they're dead. They're gone. Nobody uses those terms anymore. There's all kinds of unfortunate things we used to say and do. But we evolve and we're better. And people don't use that word. I haven't heard that word or read that word or thought about that word in years and years and years until this preacher used it. It's like he wants to bring it back. It's astounding to me.
I'm going to talk to my son today, and we're going to talk about this, and I guarantee he's going to say, Dad, I never heard the word cracker, coon, Uncle Tom.
No.
And I'm going to say, well, you got to go back 100 years, man.
Yep.
If you want to see that stuff. So, hey, take care.
Thank
and
you, buddy.
See you at the game Friday. I'll see you at the game Friday, man.
Okay, sounds good. I think I'm going on a Saturday, though. I think the game I'm going to in Arizona is on a Saturday. March 8th. We've talked about that. Old Town Scottsdale. Royals at Giants. Oof, so old school. That's a good place to be a 60-year-old white guy. Come on, Jeff. That's the place for you. You said you're tired of being a 60-year-old white guy. And then his phone broke up. That was hysterical. Really was. Stu's in Rosedale. What's up? How's Rosedale today, Stu?
Oh, Rosedale is grand. I'm going to venture out for the first time in I don't know how long. But here's why I called about the preacher. One of the terms that he used really leaps out as defying logic. I need you to, need to get straightened out on this. When he calls his parishioners who supported Donald Trump runaway slaves, what is the subtext of that?
Well,
that being runaway slave is a bad thing? I mean, get back on the plantation, you. Who do you think you are, aspiring to be free? It's a really ill-chosen term, and I'm not sure. It's like that movie character who says, "I do not think that term means what you think."
Let me cut to the core and be honest. I'm not sure I'm qualified to fully understand what that term means or what he was trying to say. That's all I'm going to say. I just know it was wrong, and his congregation liked it. By the way, they liked it. So I don't think there's very many Trump supporters in his church.
They're happy being slaves. Let me bring up another one because another caller brought up the term Uncle Tom. And anybody who uses, I've written about this on many occasions, anybody who uses the term Uncle Tom as a pejorative obviously never read the book. Uncle Tom was the hero. Uncle Tom tried to raise up his fellow slaves. It's just a total turning logic on its head.
Yeah, that term's been tossed around a lot the last few weeks since Trump took over again. That definitely has been tossed around quite a bit the last few weeks. I've heard that. I don't know in reference to exactly which person or whatever. I think it's more categorically like, hey, if you're a black voter and you're in Trump's camp, that's what you are. But I can't say that. Apparently black people can. It's just like being a liberal. There's two sets of rules. It's so confusing to be an American. We got to clean it up. Because as the polling shows, we're way more in agreement than we think we are. They're just trying to rip us apart, folks. That's all they're doing is trying to rip us apart. It's maddening. To watch these people do what it is they do will absolutely drive you crazy. No question about it. All right, we're due for a little break. We're back with more of your calls. We're going to check in with Mark next on Uncanceled. This is KCMO Talk Radio.
Whether you're a Jayhawk, Wildcat, Tiger, or KC Roo, we won't cancel you. Kevin Kietzman, Uncanceled, on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM.
Man, I'll cancel that preacher man in Atlanta for sure. That's it. That's the only thing I know you can get canceled for today. And you don't have to cancel him as a human being, but he probably shouldn't be preaching in a Christian church for sure. All right, back to the phones. We're also going to check in with Mark this segment. This is John in Independence. Hello, John. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. Yourself?
Excellent. Thank you.
Hey, I was just wanting to go into a little further what your thoughts were about the email that was sent out. And my wife, she works for Homeland Security, and she got that email, and then she got an email directly after that saying, do not reply to it.
Who sent that to her?
Her supervisors.
Okay. And are they in Kansas City?
Yeah, they work out of the same location.
So did she reply to it?
No, because since she was told not to, so.
She's probably got cover. There's a lot of this going on, but those supervisors should be in real trouble.
I kind of agree with you. I mean, I think it's important. She kind of thinks it's important to make sure everybody's there and doing their job.
Well, that's more than that. This is a directive from the President of the United States, and you're working in Homeland Security. You should probably be listening to him.
Yep, I agree. And she did too, but she didn't reply because her supervisor said not to.
It isn't my choice to make, and it's not for me to state. I just want the listeners, if they're thinking this, if it were me, I would reply.
Okay.
I wouldn't worry about my supervisors firing me. I'd be worrying about the big guys.
Right. Yep. Okay. Well, I'll relay that to her.
Just, hey, last week I worked on this. Well, unless it's top secret stuff. It's Homeland Security. She can't put that in an email, but it's like, hey, I worked 48 hours last week or something like that. Just anything. That'd be me, but I don't have her do it because I said I would. I'd probably get my butt fired. Thank you, buddy.
All right.
Appreciate the call. That's good stuff. That's a real problem. You got supervisors telling people not to do it. That's incredible. Here's Dan calling in Atchison. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Kevin.
Hey.
Hey, I'm a long-time listener of yours on WHB. I was just telling the call screener I did not know you had a show.
All right. Well, glad to have you.
The other day, while I was trying to find something to listen to after the Chiefs debacle, I didn't want to listen to that stuff. So
right.
I went looking for something to listen to, and I heard something. I thought, man, I know that voice. Who is that guy? And I listened and listened and listened, and I finally somebody called you and called you Keats. I thought, oh my God, that's Kevin Kietzman.
It is. Indeed, it is.
So I started listening, and I sure missed you on WHB. But
that's kind of you. That's kind of. Hey, Dan, do you know a bunch of people that worked at MGP Ingredients there in Atchison?
Oh yeah, my brother-in-law worked there for 35 years.
There you go. Yeah, I know some people that worked there, and they would drive from the Kansas City area there. That's a real nice thing, and it was really cool when Harrison Butker was up there speaking too. I'm going to guess you didn't get a chance to see his speech.
We got a big kick out of that.
Yeah, and a lot of national attention on Atchison, right?
You betcha.
Good stuff, man. Dan, spread the word in Atchison. Tell everybody to listen, okay?
I will do that.
Appreciate it.
Sure enjoy your show. Keep it up. Hey,
Thank
tell your bosses we need you on for more than
easy
an hour.
now. Easy. We don't talk about that. There's only one thing banned, and that's that discussion on this show. We don't talk about that.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I'm teasing. I'm having fun. It's okay, Dan. It's okay. It's okay.
I can listen to you all day.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Let everybody know in Atchison we're on, okay?
Okay, I
Thanks,
will.
man. Appreciate that. All right, let's check in with Mark and his Kansas Jayhawks last night with the big win over Colorado. Hunter Dickinson, MVP of the Jayhawks this year. How does that sound? Has a nice ring, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. He's been playing a lot better. Like, his defensive intensity has picked up. I think that's a spark for the whole team.
Why does everybody hate him?
I've never hated him. I just wish that he would go after more rebounds, and he's been doing that the last couple of games.
He has. What, did he have 32 points last night?
32 points, 13
rebounds. Easily the best player on the floor, and if they didn't have him, they'd have lost another game.
Oh, yeah.
Or if he played poorly. If he just showed up, has he played harder both the last two games? That's the criticism, I think, of Kansas fans is he does not always appear to be playing 100% every game.
Yeah, and he's been going all out the last two games.
Okay, so is that a fair assessment of what you've seen of him earlier this year? Were there games where it looked like he was phoning it in a little?
Yeah, against Duke and Michigan State earlier in the season, this is the Hunter Dickinson we saw. And then, for whatever reason, it didn't seem like he was going all out during those other games, and they weren't winning.
And they're okay. They got Texas Tech and Arizona at home. They could win those games. They're at Houston, probably lose that one, but they still wind up maybe like a 4 or 5 seed if they win some games down the stretch here. In 1999, when I was on WHB, as Dan was referencing a moment ago, on April 30th, we had something we called Share the Wealth. It was a walkout at Kauffman Stadium. We had 5,000 listeners at a remote in left field. I did the afternoon show before the game. Everybody had the same T-shirt on. We sold the ticket and the T-shirt for a certain price. And in the fifth inning, one by one, out of each aisle, we left the game in protest of the salary disparity between large market and small market teams. David Glass had just purchased the team. He was on board with it, although he never had a statement, wouldn't do an interview, whatever. Wanted to change baseball and make it better for places like Kansas City. We did the walkout. It was fun. The announcer for the Yankees that night made a big deal all night long on their television broadcast to make fun of us as yokels from the Midwest that don't know squat about baseball, and then he referred to us as beer-swilling yahoos. Things didn't go viral in those days, Mark, but Melissa Stark was there. She did a live shot. Afterwards, they played that, and for 2 or 3 days on ESPN, they kept playing the clip of us walking out and beer-swilling yahoos from Al Troutwig, who you've never heard of, right?
Yeah, no.
Died yesterday at age 68 of cancer. He was a longtime icon in New York sportscasting. And, we were mad at him at the time. He did us a favor. It got even more attention.
It blows it up a little bit and helps you out.
Certainly did. Then it was just, if it was on ESPN, it was everywhere. That was like going viral. Dan Bongino is up next. Thanks for making this a great show. A lot of great calls today.